how IT industry started earlier days and how we are seeing nowadays. This is what I'm going to explain. So, evolution of IT industry. Earlier days team, we used to use waterfall model. Earlier days, we used to use waterfall model. Waterfall model was for development process. Waterfall model was for development. And for application architecture, we used to use monolithic architectures. Monolithic architectures are the architectures where we used to see entire code base as a single unit. Entire code base as a single unit. That's monolithic application. Tightly coupled modules you will see in monolithic. And for deployment and packaging, we used to use physical servers. Physical servers are the servers where we used to host the applications team. A bare metal server or a big machine we call as a physical server. And the application infrastructure where we use to maintain all these servers, we use to keep them in data centers. Every organization maintains its own data center within a room or some floor of the organization. That's they call data center, where they used to maintain all these servers. This was the first evolution of IT industry, how we started doing the things. You know the waterfall model problems. And nowadays, what is the model that we've been following, team, from last 6 years or 7? What model we've been following after waterfall? Right. Excellent. Agile is the model which replaced the waterfall. Nobody is using the waterfall. So the next era started with Agile. Next development model is Agile model. In waterfall, you saw step-by-step approach. In Agile, if you closely observe here, I wrote a circle, right? It's an iterative process. It's a continuous improvement process, right? First you plan, review, deploy, blah, 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 done. Again, start from planning again, connect the dots. So with Agile team, yeah, we started delivering the application features fastly, rapidly, I can say. I'm not going to explain Agile principles, but let me show you the working model of Agile. Everybody, please watch this diagram for 30 seconds. I'll explain you first. First, you watch for 30 seconds. I'll explain you next. Just give me 1 second, team. 1 second. All right. So now let me explain you the process of Agile, right? So team, there is a set of people here on the top left corner, a set of people here, around 5 people there, with various technologies in hand, various skill sets with, and this is self-organized team. They collaborate among themselves and they work towards your application. There will be a product owner in Agile process. They have a product owner who talks to clients. He or she continuously talk to client and write down all the requirements that client says. So these requirements are called as user stories. We call them as user stories. There may be 100 requirements and they write down or they track down all the important list or prioritized stories, and they put it somewhere, some tool, some collaboration tool, and then they'll plan for a meeting. They call for a meeting called sprint planning meeting, where they spend some time and understand which story can be owned by which user. Suppose Ravi takes a story to implement DevOps functionality, and Bhargavi takes a story to implement some DB functionality, like that. Depends. So they take down their own priorities. I mean to say, they take down their own stories, and they put a time interval to complete these stories. Say it as 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's weeks only, team, not months. Sorry. 2 weeks is the ideal time in organizations we maintain. 2 weeks is the ideal time we maintain in organizations. So that's called sprint, technically sprint. So they put a target called 2 weeks and they try to implement all this functionality within that 2 weeks time period. There will be a scrum master for every team. He or she facilitates these guys with all their requirements, just like a mentor or helper. Daily they meet for 15 minutes. Officially they say it as stand-up call. You never know when it ends. Of course they say 15 minutes only, but you never know when it ends. They meet daily 15 minutes and they discuss 3 questions. Suppose I am one of the participants. I say, hey, yesterday I worked on so and so activity, it was completed. Today I am planning on so and so activity and I don't have any problems in implementing all these activities. I don't have any problems in implementing all these activities. So yesterday, today, any blockers? These 3 questions everybody answers, and then we move further. So like this, daily we meet for 15 minutes, and once we complete 2 weeks, we call the client and we give a demonstration. That's called sprint review meeting or demo meeting, whatever. If client satisfies with your activities, yes, next set of user stories are ready for you. Like this, team, this is a continuous process. With Agile, developers started implementing features like anything. With every 2 weeks, they get you a bunch of features or bug fixes, whatever. So this is Agile working model. I hope a few of you already know it. Any questions, anybody here? Any questions, anybody here? Very good. Paul, it's a model. It's a model, you can say. It's a model. All right. Next step. Frameworks are set of standards, Paul. Usually for applications you use frameworks, but these things are models. See, framework means if you want to design an application, the checkbox should be of this size, this should be of this color, you should use this much size of the font. These are frameworks, and a set of guidelines, a set of programs they give you. So they are frameworks. These are models. Every sprint should end with a working software. Ideally, yes, Anirudh. Ideally, yes. If not, that story continues to next sprint as well. May not be software, it's a requirement. All right. Perfect. So this is what Agile model, team. Glad you everybody understood. With that, let's see the second evolution of IT industry, where we moved from Waterfall to Agile. And the application architecture. The application architecture has become entire architecture from monolithic architectures. And from physical servers, we move to virtualization. I'm not talking much about virtualization here, team. I'm not talking much about virtualization here. When time comes, we'll discuss that. For now, just understand from physicals, we move to virtualization. I'm not explaining you now because it takes a lot of time. We'll see later. And from in-house data centers, we started using hosted data centers. So, you know, your organizations may be having their own data centers across the country for high availability. Sometimes a few organizations are even going for other organizations and borrowing their servers for temporary usage. So hosted data centers also started slowly in second evolution of IT industry. Okay, so when compared to Waterfall, Agile is good, better, but may not be best.